What's going on, YouTube? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards here for the state of grading, or in this case, the lack thereof. YouTube stuff down below. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't. We're on the quest for 10K. We'll get there one day. So I wanted to do, I did the two news alerts the last couple days with the PSA price increases and the SGC price increases, the star stock ingestion fee. It's just been a week. It has been a week. So today I just kind of want to go down the path and see where it leads. We're going to just kind of talk through it of what the hell do I do with cards that I want to grade? Where am I supposed to send them? What am I supposed to do with them? Oh my God, is this the end? Is the Titanic sinking? Are we the last ones on the deck playing the music? So let's review. PSA is basically closed down except for Super Express. Okay. SGC has raised their prices to a point where they are irrelevant. You're not sending cards to SGC at $75 a card. BGS is still extremely backed up. We'll go in a little bit more detail on each one of these. HGA has a queue of about 5,000 cards per week. Let that sink in for a second. 5,000 cards per week. That's not the answer. CSG has not raised prices yet and have not limited submissions yet, but they're either going to get slammed or they're going to end up there. That's the quick and dirty. That's the too long, didn't read of this entire thing. So let's run these down. And I'm going to start with HGA. Every time I make a post about PSA doing this, SGC doing that, Facebook's all over that, whatever. The first thing you see a lot of people say, that's it. I'm going to HGA. They're the way. They're the future. They use Fat Al in the basement to grade all the cards. It's great. Custom slabs, this, that, and the other thing. And I should step back for a second. Let me preface this by, around here, we have a saying. All these companies suck. Let's not forget that. So if I talk bad about your company that you really like, I'm sorry, but all of these guys suck. All right. I like some of HGA's designs. I like some of the stuff that they're doing. I truly do wish them well. But if your initial response to PSA closing down and SGC raising prices 3x is I'm sending all my cards to HGA, you have no idea how this entire puzzle pieces work together. They're grading 5,000 cards per week. Even if they add 500 a week for the next ever, they're not going to be able to handle the demand. No company, and it's not their fault, but to just throw them out as the automatic they're going to save us all is just not the case. They're not ready. No one was for PSA closing their doors. That is an unprecedented amount of demand that now has nowhere to go. In fact, I'm recording this Thursday night. HGA's queue system crashed within 5 minutes. Apparently, it's back up now. I am recording this while that whole process is still going on. But it did crash initially. And the report was they had 30,000 people in the queue when it crashed. 30,000 people in the queue for 2,500 cards tonight. Each person gets to submit up to 5. Good luck. Good luck if you think you're getting your LaMelo Prisms in. That's all. So HGA is not the answer. Sure, you could play the lottery every week and maybe you crack one in through, which is fine. If you want to do that, that is perfectly fine. But that's no sure thing. All right, so that's HGA and my thoughts on HGA. Cool slabs, cool ideas. They're shaking things up a little bit. But if you think they are the solution to this question, You're just not reading the room. PSA, everything's shut down except for Super Express. $300 a card. Here's the thing. Anything high dollar, you're sending to them anyways, and you were already paying the $300 price. I don't think that changes. If you pull a LaMelo Silver Prism today from Prism Hobby, you were probably going to pay the $300 to send it Super Express anyways. Maybe $150 for Express. My guess is you were going to pay the $300 for Super Express. Probably any of the top rookies from this class, if you pull any Prism color, you're probably going to send it Super Express to PSA. Changes nothing for you. The question is, what do you do with LaMelo base? Sure, right now LaMelo bases are selling for like $500, $600, $700 or whatever the hell that they're going for. But prices on those are going to start coming down. And I can tell you right now, if you grade a LaMelo base at $300 a card, you might be playing with fire. If you catch a 9, you'll probably be able to make your grading fees back. Maybe. And that's a stretch. The only reason I think you even have a chance at making them back for that is because the population counts on Prism are going to be extremely low because of all this. But remember, those are going to be artificially low, not realistically low. They're only low because PSA is not open. So for a window of time, they're going to look really small. At some point in time, that's not going to be the case. There's 16,000 Zion PSA 10 Prisms. You don't think they printed more LaMelos this year than they did Zion's last year? There's more Zion's his rookie year than there are Luka's. I can guarantee you there's going to be more LaMelos than Zion's on the pop report. So anything high end, anything Prism color of LaMelo, probably Ant-Man, maybe Wiseman, maybe Halliburton, maybe. You're sending $300 Express to PSA. You're not sending anything to SGC. And sure, if you want to play the lotto game with HGA, be my guest. But just know that that's no sure thing that you're going to get through. And you could be literally, I know people that have been trying for 6+ weeks and have not got through. That's going to frustrate a lot of people on the HGA side. And guess what? That was prior to this. So it didn't get any easier starting today. That's for damn sure. And I don't know what there's no good solution here. The solution is you do what HGA does and piss a bunch of people off fighting your queue every week, or you do what SGC does and jack the prices so high you don't want to submit to them anyway so they could get caught back up again. Or you do what PSA does and say, we have such a backlog, we're just closing the doors unless you want to pay for Super Express. And like, part of me in yesterday's video gave some props to SGC for shutting things down sooner rather than later. I will give them props for that. However, I'll take a swing at them for this. You preached that you guys were going to be ready to rock and roll. And you were, for the most part. They were doing pretty good until PSA closed the doors. And I get it. No one was going to be ready for that avalanche. But maybe learn a damn lesson when it comes to your marketing campaign. They talk so much crap. And then the second the Eye of Sauron turned on them, they melted like a wax doll on a summer day. They made it a full 36 hours before they had to do something because they were getting overwhelmed already. And like I said, part of me understands that there was no way they probably thought PSA was completely shutting down and the mountain that was going to come towards them. But, you got to think that that's a slight possibility, or that if your demand increases exponentially, to be semi-prepared for that. Maybe just don't get as cocky on your marketing. That's all I'm saying. You guys get a little too full of yourselves on your marketing. You weren't as bad as you were last year, but you were getting there. And now look at you. And good luck. A lot of SGC people are pissed about this. They're saying, why didn't you go to 50 Like, no one's probably going to submit at 50 either. Why didn't you guys do an HGA system? Why this? Why that? Who knows? We're not in their conference room, but. So PSA, if anything's super high dollar, you're sending there. Beckett. Let's look at their estimated turnaround times. Standard submissions, 6+ months. That's a big plus, by the way, from what I hear. Economy submissions, 9+ months. Same thing. I'm hearing that it's actually quite a bit longer than 9 months. Express submissions, 15+ business days. Okay, let's go over and look at what express submissions cost. $150 per card with subgrades. Don't even look at the no subgrades. Pretend this doesn't exist. Okay, you're not sending the Beckett without subgrades. $150 a card, and then premium at $250 a card with a 10 to 15 day business day turnaround time. I am not sure how accurate this 15-day plus is, but let's just call that a month. A month is 20 business days for $150. If I pulled a mellow base prism, I might consider this over PSA. Maybe. We'd have to see the numbers and how they come out. We're probably not going to know. You're probably just going to have to wing it and see what happens. Base rookies from 21 Prism, this might be viable. Because here's the thing, there's just not a lot else that's viable. I would do this before I sent the SGC at 75 a card, I think. I don't know. That's tricky for a LaMelo base. LaMelo base, because an SGC 10 outsells a BGS 9.5 in most cases, but SGC 10s are no joke to get. That's a tricky one. That's a really tricky one. That's close. Here's the thing, though. A BGS slab is going to be easier to sell. That's just, it's going to be easier to sell. And you're looking at a month turnaround time. That's not terrible, but ish, because there's that plus there. And there are rumors swirling that changes are coming to Beckett. One of the bigger group subs that I follow basically said, if you're sending stuff to Beckett, you need to get it to me like yesterday. So don't be surprised next week or basically any day that I drop a video saying red alert, condition red alert, set condition red around the ship. Beckett does X, Y, or Z. And I can tell you right now, it's not going to be a price decrease. You know, this has been out of control at Beckett forever. You know, do they stop accepting these till they get caught up and only do these two? Who knows? At this point, after what PSA did, everything's on the table for all these guys, in my opinion. Everything is on the table. SGC, we've talked about to death. $75 a card now, pretty much a non-factor. CSG, the last remaining soldier that we have not talked about. And this one's going to be tricky. Their slab, I have been told, looks much better in person than it does on a screen. I have not seen one in person, so I can only judge based off what I have seen. In my opinion, it's ugly. The green looks ugly, and the size of the label looks hideous. Here's the thing. If you don't think CSG is not sitting in a conference room right now with a whiteboard figuring out what they need to up their submission price to or how to build a queue system, then I don't know what you're thinking. There was people in the SCI Discord on Wednesday after the PSA announcement came out filling out CSG submission form orders, and they were saying that the website was just chugging. SGC got overwhelmed in 36 hours. What the hell do you think happened to CSG? If you're sending cards to CSG, you better be next day shipping them FedEx or UPS, not USPS. You need to get those things there like right now. And in fact, if you're listening to this video and you have not already sent them, you're probably too late. My prediction here is twofold. CSG does nothing and becomes SGC 2.0. Remember all the videos and conversations we had about SGC last year, about how they never put any communication out. They got buried. They just kept taking more and more cards in, and now they're 10 months behind schedule. That will be CSG in a month if they don't do anything, because they are the only ones, in air quotes, reasonably priced, in air quotes, hitting times and don't have a queue. They're it. They're the only ones in town. So what the hell do you think's happening over there right now? Their submission servers are probably have smoke coming out of them right now. Fire department is on their way. So once again, I wouldn't be surprised if at any point in time I'm sitting here recording a video. Beep, 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 beep. CSG, this is their new system. This is their new prices. This is their new queue system. You could submit cards every third Wednesday. But only if the sky's green, like our slab, and that's it. So that's probably coming. Or they become SGC 2.0, everyone gets pissed at them, and then the slab value tanks like SGCs did because everyone got pissed, and here we sit. So what the hell do you do? If you pull something high end, you're just sending it to PSA at Super Express. That's what you were going to do anyway. In my personal opinion, if I pull a bunch of Prism, if I'm ripping Prism wax, I am probably just setting the stuff aside. I'm going to sell off raw what I don't think can 10. And then anything that I think can 10, I'm just going to stick in a box and I'm going to let this shit play out. Is PSA going to be back open by July? Who the hell knows? My guess is, so let's get into spin forward mode here. PSA is going to eventually slowly open up submission levels. Here's their countdown or complete through date tracker. Make this a little bigger for you guys. Super Express is relatively caught up. Express is a nightmare. They're all the way back to February 2nd. They're basically a full 2 months behind. This has not moved in like a week. This Express order is going to hit a massive bump. We're on February 2nd. What happened at the end of February? They got a bajillion orders to beat the price increase. How many of those do you think they were Express? At least 2 of mine are. Super Express doing okay because there's not a ton of cards coming in at Super Express. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton, but relatively. This right here is going to run into problems in about a month and a half. My prediction is everything's basically shut down for at minimum a month. By the end of, let's call it May, so almost a full 2 months, essentially, once the Express complete through date tracker gets through that hump from the end of February, beginning of March. So essentially like the first week of March, I think Express comes back. Probably at like $200 a card. Maybe it stays at $150. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they have, I don't know if it'll be a queue system, but some sort of limit. Like, yeah, you could submit, but you are capped at 5 cards a month or something like that. 10 cards, 15 cards a month, 20 cards a month, whatever. 1 order per month with a cap of 25 cards. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if they had maybe a slightly increased price, at minimum, some type of restriction. Once again, pure guess. And then the other ones probably come back even slower. And I don't know that we ever see, I was watching Stepback's live stream before this, and Elite Co 3 was in there chatting. And he basically said, I don't think we ever see a PSA card get graded for under $30. And I could not agree more. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was more expensive than that. What does bulk look like for PSA, and when the hell does it even come back? I think that's the one that's going to be the longest until it comes back, is bulk and economy. Maybe there's still a cheap bulk thing, and maybe they just flat out tell you that, sure, you could send bulk, but it's going to take a year. So if I pull a LaMelo base, I am probably just holding that and going to wait for them to open back up again. Maybe you send it to Beckett, maybe you send it to hurry up and get it out the door to CSG or whatever. So what are some broader ramifications of all this? I would not want to be ripping wax right now. I don't know that it makes sense to rip wax. One, it never really made sense to rip wax personally. I mean, that's kind of one of the mantras that we talk about on here. It really doesn't make sense to rip wax. It really doesn't make sense to rip wax now, in my opinion. You would be better off just to sit on it and keep it sealed. And then if grading comes back to the way that you like it at prices that you like that makes sense, go ahead and rip it. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, you might miss out on the initial buzz of prices, but let's be honest, you kind of already missed that initial wave anyway. That's like a first week thing. So I will be curious to see how this affects breakers. I've never been one to buy into breaks. I don't have the mindset for it. So I don't know when people are going into that. Are they immediately thinking, I'm going to buy the Hornets to get some mellow and then send it off to get graded? And if that is the case, how do breakers affected by this? As we talked about before with the tax situation, there are going to be ripple effects from this that we are not even thinking about that are going to have effects long-term down the line. A lot of people get their money to buy in the cards that they want from grading raw and flipping. So they take their LaMelo Ball base, or maybe even in this case, we'll say Isaac Okoro, probably a $5 Prism rookie. In the old school days, you'd send that off to PSA for $20 a card, you get it back in 6 months and sell it for $100. You made your $70 on that card or whatever it is. You do that about 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 times, whatever it is, build your bankroll, and then go buy your nice Luka PSA 10 silver or whatever it is that you're chasing. There's going to be a gap now. 21 Prism basketball, select football. What else is about to come out? Optic football, probably, unless you were real quick about getting it in. Optic basketball, select basketball. There's going to be a gap there where there's a lot of the non-star rookies are not going to have graded inventory on the market, and you're not going to have people that do the legwork to get the raw, grade, and flip and take that profit and then use that profit to spend on other stuff. They're going to be kind of cut out right now, unless they just go chase, unless they just sit on the stuff rather and wait for it to come back. But there's still going to be a gap there in between where they don't have that inventory coming in, going out, going in, coming out. Now, if they're a PSA submitter, I guess now that I think about this, and they've been doing it for a while, they have inventory coming back for a while because they have orders at PSA already. It just depends on what you're doing. If you already have a system in place and you've been sending cards in every month for a year, you're fine for a while. But at some point in time, you're going to hit a gap where that stops because PSA is going to be shut down for a few months. And like I said, does this affect breakers? And if it affects breakers, does that impact the price of wax? What does this do to PSA slabs already on the market? I honestly think it doesn't affect that much. There's already 16,000 Prism Zions out there, just to pick on him as an example. That's not really changing that much. So I think the stuff prior to basically Prism football of this year, I think is unaffected by this. Maybe it's affected a little teeny tiny bit. What is going to be affected is the prices of the new stuff going forward. A LaMelo Ball base PSA 10 Prism is going to be low pop for a while. Because there's only going to be a certain segment of people that are willing to take the risk at grading that at $300 per card. So LaMelo Prism base is not going to have a high pop count. But that's artificially low because there's tons of LaMelo Prism base. It's just a matter of when they get graded. So there's going to be a window there where LaMelo Ball Prism PSA 10 base is going to look way more expensive compared to Zion, Ja, Luka, etc., because the population count is going to be very, very tiny on that card relative to demand. That's my prediction there. But once again, at some point in time, more LaMelos are going to get graded, more of them are going to hit the market and those prices are going to come down because it's not like PSA closed up shop forever. So if you're playing that game, play it fast. You have maybe till Christmas, maybe the All-Star break next year. I don't know. But at some point in time, that scale is going to tilt the other way and you're not going to want to get left holding the bag on that because look at how the high pop count Prism cards are doing now. Same thing with like select football. If you pulled a Herbert field level, you were probably sending it $300 express anyway, because you wanted to get that back before next season starts. If you pull a Jordan Love, though, are you paying $300 to grade a Jordan Love field level? Or are you going to wait? Or a Premier or a Concourse Herbert. Pull a Concourse Herbert non-color. Are you spending $300 to grade that? And Select has low pop counts anyways. So keep this in mind when you're chasing. There's going to be a line of demarcation, and I think it's Prism football because a lot of Prism football has already been ripped. Maybe not a ton, but enough Prism football has been ripped and already sent to PSA. But anything that release after Optic football, in my opinion, is going to have skewed population counts. And file that away because it's going to be like that for the next 6 to 8 months at least. So when you're chasing this stuff, be very careful of that. Because at some point in time, like I said, that's going to balance itself out. Now, Select typically has low pop counts to begin with, but Prism and Optic has lower pop counts too, but you get my point. So there's that aspect of all this. How am I handling it personally? I don't rip a ton, so I don't have a lot of raw singles. And I am not the guy at the card show or at the card store that's going to dig through dollar boxes to find those gems that you could send off and get graded and get them back and 2, 3, 4, 5x your money. That's not my style, but I know there's a lot of people that do that. So like I said, what happens now that those people are paused from the market, if you will? Do they stay in the game and adapt? Or do they just go, you know what? I made my money. I got more stuff coming back. I'll sell that stuff and just kind of be done with it. And then that's less buyers and sellers in the market. Or do they adapt and come up with something different? My plan has been for a while to stick to just graded. If I buy a card right now, it's graded. Even if it's a PSA 9, I'll buy a PSA 9 before Raw any day of the week. I am transitioning more into the follow the cyclical patterns of buy at certain times of the year, sell at certain times of the year, but only with graded cards. Now you could do that with Raw. You absolutely can. You could be buying, football Raw the last 3 months, holding it until August and selling it. It's going to be slightly lower returns, but you could still do that. Absolutely. And I'll tell you right now, I feel real good about my little adventure into the comic book world right now. For sure. As I've mentioned on the channel before, if all you're into is sports cards, you should be looking to diversify. Whether you want to follow me down the comic book road, I get it if it's not for you, or the non-sports card trading world. The problem with non-sports card trading is that they're beholden to the same grading company as we are, basically. Pokemon, they're going PSA, or I guess you could get CGC with them, but most people are buying PSA. Marvel stuff is all going to PSA, etc. So, you get into maybe graded video games, graded action figures, whatever, if you want to expand beyond cards. Or like I said, you adapt. You move to just flipping graded stuff. Maybe all that raw stuff you get from Prism, you just send it to Star Stock and hope you get A's. A's sell for about PSA 9 prices, if not slightly more. So you could do that too. The other thing that I would recommend, as I've talked about before on the channel, if your sports card spreadsheet doesn't have you in the black, I would get there. I'm not saying that, Vegas Dave was right or anything close to that, or that this is the end of the era, but you're going to have to change the way that you do business, especially if you're one of the people that were buying raw to grade. This impacts those people the most. And the people that I really feel for are group submitters, because they were probably caught off guard by this. I'm sure they probably got zero notice of this. they could have had cards sitting ready to go, and now they have nowhere to turn because SGC is not viable, PSA is not viable. Who knows what Beckett's going to end up doing? HGA is not taking bulk subs, and like I said, as of right now, CSG is the play in air quotes, but how long does that really last? Like I said, any day now, I could be making the CSG price increase / Q system / whatever video. So those guys were really left holding the bag because they could have thousands of cards that they were prepping to send off the PSA, and now they can't. And when PSA comes back online, like I said, they are going to have something in place to limit submissions because otherwise they're just going to get avalanched on when they open back up again. Because group submitters, here's what they're going to do. They're going to say, if you want, you can keep sending me cards. We'll get them all ready to go and queue them up and get them out the door as soon as they open back up again. So they're going to get hammered the second group subs open back up again. If or when they do. I assume that they will, but God knows when and God knows what they'll cost. And what type of restrictions will be in place. Maybe they limit the group submitters. Hey, we have 500,000 group submission slots a month. PC sports cards, you get 200,000 of them. I'm just making up numbers. Joe Schmo, you get 5,000. This guy, you get 10,000. This guy, you get 1,000. And that's it. You guys, as group submitters, figure out who or what you're sending me. Not my problem. But this is your allocation for the month. Maybe they do something like that. That's what on Step Back Sports' live stream, there was some talk about, stuff like that. Who knows what they'll end up doing. So is this the end of sports cards? No. But you're going to have to change your practices. You're going to have to adapt, figure out the new angle, whatever it is. If your primary thing was raw to grade. And like I said, there are going to be unintended consequences from this that none of us are seeing right now. Whether it's the talking heads like me or, just people out there in the community, there are going to be long-lasting ripple effects from this that none of us are seeing or even thinking about. So the short answer is 30 some minutes into this video. Anything mid to high end, anything super high end, you're still sending the PSA. Anything mid to high end, in my opinion, I would just set it to the side and wait. Because if you send it off to CSG, odds are they're already backed up. You could play the HGA Que game every week and see if you get lucky and maybe get a couple cards off to them. But you cannot sustain a sports card flipping. I hate to use the word business, but I'm going to use business very loosely when you don't know that you can even get cards out to them consistently and then coming back consistently. And like I said before, people that have been doing this on the regular have orders at PSA lined up that are going to be slowly coming back. So they're going to have inventory for a while to move. So they might be okay for a while, but there is going to be a gap there where they get caught up, where they don't have any more orders coming back to them and they're out of inventory to flip. And like I said, how does this affect breakers? I don't really know how it affects raw prices. That's one of the things people keep saying, like, oh my God, raw prices. I've seen both sides of the coin and I could see both sides. They're going to go to the moon because that's all everyone's going to want. I've seen that side. And then I've also seen the other side where it's, oh my God, raw prices are going to go to the floor because the market is going to be flooded with raw. And I could see both sides of the argument. To be quite honest with you, I don't think that we know. And like I said earlier, I do not think that this affects currently graded PSA cards to the degree, or just graded cards in general, to the degree that people think it's going to, because most of that stuff's already graded. But I do think it's going to affect newer cards that have not been graded yet. I think those prices will absolutely be artificially inflated for the newer products rolling forward. I 100% agree with that, but I don't think this all of a sudden makes your Zion Prism base worth more. So that's my long form thoughts on all this. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of varying opinions on all this. So I'm sure the comments will be spicy town. Everyone will probably be HGA guys are going to be mad. SGC guys are going to be mad. BGS guys are going to be mad. PSA guys are going to be mad. CSG guys are going to be mad. The GMA guys will be mad because I didn't even talk about them. I will not acknowledge the garage grading company. Sorry. They raised their prices too, supposedly, but they're not getting a slide. I know a lot of people that use them. I don't know a lot of people that use them. I know like 3 people that use them, but good luck to you. So they'll be mad that we didn't talk about them. And not mad. I'm being a little over dramatic here, but you guys get my point. So have fun down there in the comments, but keep it civil. That's all I got for you guys today. So smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I do not know. So this is posting Friday morning, Saturday morning. As of right now, I do not have a video planned. But what I may end up doing, and I will try to post this as far ahead of time as I possibly can. I don't think I have any card shows this weekend. Let's plan on trying to do a live on Saturday, and we could talk about this and anything else that pops in, but it'll probably mostly be grading talk, but sports cards, non-sports, like my normal live streams where we just get on and chat for a while. Normally I go for about an hour. My wife works all day on Saturday, and if I don't have any card shows, maybe we'll fire that up and we'll go for, a marathon session or something and just go and see what happens. So, but yeah, that's all I got. Like, comment, sub. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.